Hello, I'm Dr. Praveen Ravishankaran. I'm a robotics cancer surgeon practicing in Coimbatore. My daily work involves treating cancers of the lung, digestive systems, and other organs using advanced laparoscopic and robotic surgery. Every day, I see the human body at its most vulnerable, when disease has already taken hold. But what troubles me most is not just treating cancers, it's realizing how many of these illnesses began years earlier, silently, invisibly, long before the patient ever steps into the hospital. That is why today's video is very important. Because today, we are not talking about disease. We're talking about an environment that slowly creates the disease. We're talking about pollution. Pollution is dangerous not because it is dramatic, but because it is quiet. You don't feel the pain when polluted air enters your lung. You don't notice when toxic particles pass from your breath into your blood. But your body remembers every exposure, cell by cell, year after year. Before we go further, I want to show you a simple experiment. Watch this. What you see here looks like a harmless ring of smoke floating gently through the air. But this is not random smoke. This is structured, rotating flow of air that traps smoke inside and carries it forward intact. The smoke does not disappear immediately, it travels. It stays together, it moves silently through space. This is exactly how pollution behaves. Now think about the world we live in, and I want to take you briefly to a moment from the movie Wall-E. In that film, Earth is covered in waste, smog, and pollution. What we see here is robots arranging blocks of waste into massive structures, literally, the waste becoming skyscrapers. The whole city is shown somewhat like a large dump yard of waste. That scene is not an exaggeration, it is just a mirror. Because when the environment degrades, only robots remain, with no humans remaining to be seen. Pollution enters us primarily through air we breathe, but also through the skin, through the water we drink, through the food we eat, and even through the skin. The smallest particles, so tiny that you cannot see or smell them, travel deep into the lung. From there, they cross into the bloodstream and spread throughout the body. In the lung, pollution causes chronic inflammation. The delicate airway becomes inflamed, the natural cleaning mechanism of the lung fails. Over time, the lung capacity reduces significantly, breathing becomes labored, and the conditions like asthma, chronic bronchitis, and emphysema develops. In children, lungs may never fully develop to their full genetic potential. In adults, prolonged polluted lung age faster than the rest of the body. In many of these patients on whom I operate, long-term exposure becomes the foundation of which lung cancer eventually grows. But pollution does not stop only with the lungs. Once these particles enter the bloodstream, they damage the blood vessels from the inside. The vessels become stiff, inflamed, and narrow. Blood vessels become thicker, blood becomes thick, more prone to clotting, blood pressure rises. That is why polluted environments are strongly linked to heart attacks and stroke. Many cardiovascular events are not random. They are triggered by days or weeks of high pollution exposure. Pollution also reaches the brain. Ultrafine particles and inflammatory chemicals crosses the protective barrier that shield the brain, enter inside the brain, and they cause chronic inflammation, damaging neurons and disrupting communication between the brain cells. Over time, this manifests as poor concentration, memory loss, anxiety, depression, and an increased risk of neurodegenerative changes. In children, this exposure can affect the learning, behavior, emotional regulation, consequences that can last a lifetime. Perhaps the most heartbreaking effect of pollution are seen on unborn babies and young children. During pregnancy, pollutants cross the placenta, they interfere with the fetal development, increasing the risk of low birth weight babies, premature delivery, poor lung development, and long-term health issues. Children breathe more air relative to their body weight than adults. making them far more vulnerable. Pollution silently shapes their future before they even have a choice. Pollution also disrupts the immune system. Constant low grade exposure keeps the immune system in a chronic state of activation, eventually exhausting it. At the same time, it suppresses the body's ability to fight infection effectively. This is why polluted populations experience far more frequent and more severe infections and illnesses. Over years, pollution creates a perfect environment for cancer. It damages DNA, weakens the immune system's ability to destroy abnormal cells, and maintains a chronic inflammatory state. Cancer does not appear suddenly. It is the final chapter of a long biological story, and pollution is often one of the things that writes the opening pages. Now, let us return to the experiment you saw earlier. That smoke ring forms because of sudden pulses of air that rolls back on itself, creating a stable, rotating structure that carries the smoke forward. Pollution behaves the same way. It does not instantly disperse, it remains suspended in air. It travels long distances, and when inhaled, it penetrates deep into the body, circulating rather than simply passing through. The smoke made the airflow visible. Pollution works the same way, except we usually cannot see it. As a doctor, I treat diseases, but as a healer, I believe our greatest power lies in prevention. Clean air is not a luxury, it is a medical necessity. We must reduce unnecessary pollution, support cleaner energy, protect children from exposure, and speak up for environments that allow human bodies to thrive rather than slowly fail. If this video helped you understand pollution differently, please subscribe to the Wellness Oracle. This channel exists to bring science, health, and prevention together before disease forces the conversation. In the next video, we will talk about something even more unsettling: microplastics, invisible particles that are now found in our blood, lung, placenta, and even the brain. Where they come from, what they do to the body, and why this may be one of the biggest health challenges of all times. Take care of your body, it carries you throughout your life. Thank you for watching and have a nice day ahead. Thank you.